What's up, everyone? What's going on? Okay, so yesterday I did a story. I did a video about anti-Semitic attacks here in New York City. And today, reading the New York Daily News. Unfortunately, it's the hometown newspaper, and I occasionally have to read it pretty much to look for stories to do videos on. But there was another story reported today in the Daily News of another anti-Semitic attack. This one actually happened 3 days prior to the one I did the video on yesterday. In this case, it was four individuals who jumped one Hasidic man while yelling racial slurs. Before I get into the video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell, help me grow my channel. Now I'm gonna read the article to you guys right now. Once again, ignore the glitches because I'm just too damn lazy to figure out how to stop the glitches from happening. So, a group of brutes shouting anti-Semitic slurs jumps man walking in Brooklyn. Let's go down and read. A group of brutes shouting anti-Semitic slurs jumped a man as he walked down a Brooklyn street, police said. The 42-year-old victim, wearing traditional Orthodox garb, was strolling down Broadway near Lynn Street in Williamsburg when he was assaulted by four men about 1:15 a.m. Saturday. The crew fled east on Broadway, leaving the victim with a bruised and swollen face. He did not seek medical attention. He's doing okay, the victim's wife, who declined to give his name, told Daily News. The first few seconds he was kind of dizzy, but then he was okay. Her husband had gone out that evening to visit a friend. It's pretty sad, she said, of the attack. Who do they feel that way? Well, why do they feel that way? What have we done to them to make them hate us? Three of the suspects are described as Hispanic and in their early 20s, wearing all black. The fourth suspect is described as black in his early 20s, wearing a black do-rag and gray sweatsuit. Just 3 days later and a half a mile away, a hate-filled brute ran up and slapped a 39-year-old Orthodox man, knocking the victim's hat and yarmulke off near Rodney Street and Mercy Avenue. The attack was caught on surveillance. That attack was caught on surveillance video. The victim was nearing the corner when a teen sporting a gray sweatsuit and black backpack ran up and walloped him in the face about 7 p.m. on Tuesday. The victim lurched forward, his hat and yarmulke falling off as his attacker ran off. Police said no words were exchanged between the two men. Cops are still looking for the assailant. This was these parts of the same article that I read to you guys in yesterday's video. The NYPD Hate Crime Task Force investigating both incidents. Last week, cops were fighting off a 67% increase in hate crimes so far this year. By the end of April, 145 hate crimes were reported to police compared to 87 during the corresponding period last year. The majority of hate crimes reported to police were anti-Semitic, which saw an 82% jump from 45 last year to 82 this year. Anyone who has information on either attack, actually call Crime Stoppers, and there's the number and everything. I doubt any of you guys have any knowledge of who might have done this. So, there you have it. Once again, there's another anti-Semitic attack. This time, racial slurs are thrown in there. Anti-Semitic slurs are thrown in there. I am shocked and very pleased to see that they actually gave a racial description of the individuals responsible. Usually they don't do that. They don't want to talk about who did the attack, even if you can clearly see on there's a video footage or there's pictures or whatever the case may be. They don't want to say. This time they finally said it. They said it was 3 Hispanic young men and 1 young black man who did this attack. It's funny. I was thinking, is it possible someone in the Daily News saw my video and said, maybe we're going to make him look bad by actually giving out the race of the person? But I seriously doubt that's the case. It would be pretty cool if that was the case, but I'm sure it's not. But I am happy to be at least wrong in this case where, they're actually giving a racial description. Yesterday I said that they never do, and here it is. They finally did. I'm pleased to be wrong about that. It's about time we start doing that and letting people know exactly who's responsible for these attacks. So it's like I said yesterday, how could the Jewish people in New York City and in Brooklyn be afraid of, you ask them to be afraid of Nazis and white supremacists and white nationalists and all of, the buzzwords of pretty much conservatives that the left loves to throw out there when they're so busy watching for black and Hispanics that are attacking them. You know, it's funny because, you know, when a white person commits any type of crime or maybe a school shooting or and anything, even just a comment, even just making, a disrespectful comment on like Twitter or some shit like that. You know, it's so easy to just say, oh, look, white supremacists, and now like all eyes are on us and all fingers are pointed at us, right? Now here you have, once again, just more proof that the biggest threat to Jewish people, at least here in New York City, are black and Hispanic men. They're the biggest threat, but no one is calling them out, as a whole. No one's calling them out as a group, but they do that with us. A white person does something and it pretty much, it's kind of like the model for all of white people, according to the left. This is what the left does. They use that to paint and frame an entire group of people based on like the behavior of one idiot. And now when the shoe is on the other foot, they don't want to do that. And they don't, they won't frame all of black or Hispanics as anti-Semites or as as hate-filled people or anything like that, because it was just a handful of idiots who do this. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree with the fact that this is just a handful of idiots that are doing something like this. And the same thing on the other side with white people. It's just a handful of idiots that do something stupid. It shouldn't paint the picture of the entire group or the entire race, but that's not the game that the left plays. They use one incident to showcase how white people are, how white supremacy and white nationalists and Republicans and Trump supporters, and they go on and on and on, and they lump all of us into one category, and then they sell it to everyone as that, and that's what they do. But they don't do it when the shoe is on the other foot, which I think is not fair. Most of us think it's not fair. At least most people who are not on the left think it's not fair. The people on the left, they're just so out of their freaking mind. They don't know what to think these days. It's funny because they're pretty quiet on the last big shooting that took place in Colorado in the STEM school, where the two individuals who were anti-Trumpers, by the way, according to all of their social media posts, they hated Trump and they loved Obama. One of them was a transgender, and they went into a school with a handgun. They didn't even use the assault rifle. They used a handgun. I wonder if it was an assault handgun that they used. And they went into the school and they shot it up. It's not a laughing matter. I'm laughing over what I just said about assault handgun, but it's actually not a laughing matter at all, because somebody was killed in the event. Some innocent person, a young kid, like 18 years old. Innocent young man trying to get his education was shot and killed, and then other students were also injured in this. But the individuals responsible, yeah, they were white, but guess what? They weren't white supremacists. You couldn't tie them in with white supremacy. You couldn't do that, because one was in a protective group because he or she, I don't know how it's identified, is a member of the LGBTQ R2D2C3PO community. So you can't call them a white supremacist. And then the other one loved Obama, was anti-Trump. So there goes your white supremacy and your Nazi and all the buzzwords you like to throw out there. They're pretty quiet on that. They don't want to talk about that one. They also don't want to talk about the fact that there's an Islamic center in Philadelphia. I might do a video on it next. I'm not sure. Maybe I shouldn't speak about it if I'm going to do a video where the school children there, in Islamic center, which was chanting like chop their heads off and for Allah and this and that. It's all you can find it online. I might do a video on it, so I don't want to speak too much about it, especially if I didn't read up on it. But I don't see them being called out at all from the left. The left, they don't call out Islam. They won't do that. They won't call them out for their bad behavior. Instead they'll do the victim blaming thing, and they'll blame us for our behavior that led to them doing what they do. So the hypocrisy from the left and the propaganda machine that they are. That continue to frame us in a certain light, and then frame everyone else as the victims who are just reactionary, and reacting towards to our attack, and it's nonsense. It's all complete nonsense. This is why I walked away. This latest anti-Semitic attack here in Brooklyn, this time it was. I guess you can call it a gang assault. It was 4 individuals assaulting one person. It is a hate crime since they threw anti-Semitic slurs at the man. This just showcased the behavior of individuals of the left, of liberals, and I mean this happened here in Brooklyn, one of the most liberal cities in the country. Like, what's more liberal than New York? Okay, maybe California, maybe Seattle. Maybe there's a handful of states out there, but New York is, at least the top 5, one of the most liberal places to, to live in the country, and to have, a hateful city with the most anti-Semitic attacks. How can that be? And once again, it's never a white supremacist committing these acts. It's never a Trump supporter. It's never even a Republican. Could we just get a moderate Republican? Like, we don't even need somebody who's very extreme. Could we just get a moderate Republican who's committing these attacks? No, we don't even have that. Once again, it just showcase what the liberals are, and how they're just factually wrong on so many things, and at this point they're nothing more than activists, especially the media and the Democrats, the Democratic Party, the politicians, the clowns in office. They're nothing but activists. That's all they are, pumping one propaganda piece after the next. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Once again, to any fellow American Jews out there, if you're watching this, it is time to pack up and leave the Democratic Party. They do not have your back. You are not worth it to them as much as the groups who are attacking you, constantly, physically attacking you and getting away with it and not being called out, because they stand higher on the oppression scale than you. So they are going for the gold in the oppression Olympics, where we are not gold worthy. So we're down at like maybe the second bronze. Like if there's a second bronze given out in a competition or something, we're down there at the second bronze, maybe one step past the second bronze. So we're not worthy. So they won't call out groups unless it's a white group that hates us and that wants to attack us. Then they'll be called out for it. But the other groups won't be called out for their assault on us, because they're one step up. They're better than we are. So this is the scale of the left. This is how they want it. They want to group people into their respective groups, and then they place them on their on their line or something, or they place them on their staircase going all the way up to the top, to the gold, and everyone has to go into their position, their slot in life. This is how it is. This is who they are. This is what they are. They're not looking for any type of. They don't want the equality that they claim they want. At least not for us. They want their version of equality. So leave the Democrats as soon as you can. I will see you guys on the next video.